I think it's time and we are ready to begin.
Yes, I think so. Okay, let's start with a prayer. Heavenly Father, we praise and thank you for bringing us together today. Thank you for the Asia Pacific Association of Methodist-related educational institutions who sponsored and organized this event. Thank you, Lord, for this is an opportunity for us to understand fully what you have given us with, what you have blessed us with, the innovations in ChatGPT, its advantages and the risks that go with it. Lord, bless our speakers, bless our students, bless us all as we continue to glorify and praise you through the things that we do on earth. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone who are with us. And I would like to thank you for once again joining us in our monthly forum. Today, two experts will help us understand the advantages and risks that go with the advances in artificial intelligence, specifically the newest innovation that is called ChatGPT. We look forward to your participation through a meaningful discussion after the presentations. So without further ado, let me call in Dr. Nirja Masi, one of our directors of APAMEI, to introduce our speakers. Dr. Nirja Masi. Hello, Young Min.
I think Nija was frozen and I think she's coming back now.
Okay, and I can also see Bishop. Okay. Our speakers for this afternoon, this evening, or this...
Can you hear me?
Oh, yes, please, Nirja, yes.
I'm so sorry I lost connection. So I am here to do my duties, and it is a proud privilege for me to introduce the speakers to us. And the first speaker is Professor Youngmin Pak, PhD from Northwestern University in Applied Theology, Director GBHEM Lead Hub, South Korea. And he is professor at Yonsei University, also General Secretary of APAMEI Board. And he is going to talk about an important issue. Are we in AI risk? Understanding its potential dangers and possibilities. And it is also my privilege to introduce our second speaker to us, Professor Paul Shu, Vice Chancellor, Ayoma Gakuen University, Japan, also University Chaplain, member of APAMEI Board. He's involved in ICT and Christian education for last 20 years, and he's researching and publishing papers. And also from the perspective of AI in education, he's involved since 2018 as a member of the AGU Singularity Institute and has organized IMSQ Research Symposium on AI and education. He's going to talk about navigating the AI landscape for students, faculty, and school staff, practical use cases, and risk mitigation in education. So I welcome both the speakers today, and I invite Professor Youngmin to start.
Thank you, Nisha, for the nice presentation, and thank you for the opportunity to share, this talk with all the people. Yes, I titled my presentation today as Are We in AI Danger? Understanding its potential dangers and the possibilities. As you all know, we had a little presentation about this AI and ChatGPT in February forum. Seems like it has been not long, but within AI progress and the development, it seems like pretty long time ago. Yes, I'm trying to remind you this will be the second and updated version of this talk, and something I believe we need to seriously think. And that is why we decided to have another opportunity and to have this talk together with all of you. Yes, everything started with this one, the ChatGPT. And a lot of people are familiar with it right now. And then people are using it in many different regions. And that is why we need to know what this is and also trying to follow up what is going on within that field. As you know, I was trying to explain what is ChatGPT the last time, and simply saying, its name says a lot about GPT as generative pre-trained transformer. And I don't want to repeat everything, but I'm trying to remind you, and we covered this one before. And the G is generative model, and it is, not the search engine, it is generating exact answer about it when you ask any kind of question. So that is the main thing. And the second thing is the pre-trained. And it is important, and because, it is covering a lot of data almost available within all our internet, and they already have training about it. So based on that knowledge, they are generating certain answer to us and to our question. And that is the very important thing. And we're going to revisit, this one again. And they are thinking, and they already covered the 5 trillion document available in the internet. So the last part is the T, and which is the transformer model, and which we need to understand. And I'm trying to remind you what that was. And this is the transformer model means they are transferring something existing with the new order and the new algorithm for us. And they are not completely creating something new. And that is the important part. And that is why the way they are working is they're gonna catch up what could be the most suitable connecting word after one word after the other by their algorithm and by their statistics. And that is how it works. And that is why, they are generating very human-like the talk together with us. So read this one, I want to talk about, something, I need to say as an update after the last presentation in February. What happened after February? The biggest thing about this ChatGPT and the AI discussion, and something big came out, and which was the ChatGPT was based on the GPT 3.5, and OpenAI introduced GPT-4 on March 14th. And it was the big thing, and it changed the whole landscape of this AI discussion. And that was very interesting thing. And a lot of people are saying, how it is different from 3.5 to 4. And a lot of people are showing how they are different with this picture. If GPT-3 was this kind of bot and GPT-4 is this kind of very advanced robot. Let me show you some of the statistics. This is showing the GPT-4, and they are thinking over here, and they reduce the possibility of we call the hallucination, and which is providing the wrong information, and this much. And, they are making the very much human-like performance now. And also they updated some of the information, up to the September of 2021, and which before the 2020. And also they put a lot of other things, over here. And the most important thing is this part. And from GPT-3, actually 3.5 to GPT-4 is parameters has been dramatically increased. And actually, funny thing is, although the OpenAI is trying to make their company to open everything for the public, but they didn't reveal this one. So parameter, is more like, we can think about the ability of AI, and which will be determined by these parameters. And they are saying in the GPT 3.5, they had the 175 billion parameters, and now they are thinking almost the 20 trillion parameters. And We do not know. They do not publicly enclosed. Do you know what it means? 20 trillion? And that is almost same as the neural network of the human being. And we are counting that way. So they made a big progress. And another thing is we call the modality. Modality is the ability to do something. Based on GPT 3.5, ChatGPT was only able to accept and read the text. Now, with the GPT-4, GPT-4 is able to read the text and also understand the whole image. So now funny thing is, if you have the exam in front of you, and if you take a picture of it, and then if you upload that picture, okay, into ChatGPT 4 base, and then they're going to read that the photo and then understand the question within the photo, and then they're going to give you the answer about that question. So that is the big thing. So now, I want to talk about some different way of things. All this ChatGPT and GPT system is based on we call the large language model, LLM. And because, to develop the intelligent, artificial intelligence, we need to use the language that is the best way to, make the similar system like human brain. And that is why they are doing it. But as you can see, to make it possible, there should be the foundation support about this one. We need extreme computer power and a lot of AI experts only working for that. And to make it possible, we need big financial investment. And that is why one of the problems we need to face and we need to understand is only the biggest mega company is able to handle this one. And that is why we have this one. Now, after ChatGPT by OpenAI and Microsoft, Google also announced the BART, and which is their chat bot system based on AI, and also Meta, which from the Facebook, and also announced the Llama, which is all ChatGPT style conversation AI chatbot. And we need to understand what is going on and why only this kind of mega global company is able to do it. There are several Chinese and the Korean company are working on it, but they are way behind comparison to these three companies. And let me show you, what is the LLM, large language model AI history like this one. And then if you can see, this is the timeline. Okay, and without knowing what was happening to us, and there has been a lot of things, were there. Okay, and now we are within this stage, 2023. Okay, now we have GPT-4, and as I said, there is BART and there is Llama, over here. And now in 2024, people are thinking before 2024, and there will be ChatGPT 5 based on GPT-5, and also the Google will announce another advanced AI system called Gemini. They already announced it, but it will come pretty soon. Let's go back to ChatGPT. Okay, wait for a second. Let's go back to ChatGPT. And now, people are thinking little kind of very humanistic study level about the meaning of ChatGPT. And I think we need to think about it. And they are saying why ChatGPT is important. Read this. Second. Now, people are thinking ChatGPT is the first encounter of human being with the supercomputer AI. We were talking about the supercomputer is existing somewhere and AI is somewhere, but we never encountered personally. But the ChatGPT, was made that opportunity possible for us. Now, we can work with the supercomputer AI, and which was the first time and very historic. Another people, interpret this one as this is the within human history first non-human dialogue partner showed up in front of us. Only our conversation partner up to today was the other human being. But now we have another dialogue partner, and which is the AI. But the funny thing is, they are so easy to use, and that is why, we do not experience that difficulty working together with it. And also we are amazed with amazing ability it could generate in front of us. Now I want to talk about some of the possibilities and also the dangers and together. Yes, there are the two opposite perspectives about AI LLM development and generated by the ChatGPT now. And let's talk about it. Let's talk about the possibility, and this is the positive move for whole humankind. The famous one, the Henry Kissinger, okay, who was the Secretary General, okay, and of the U.S. government for a long time, and he was reading the conversation, okay, and read the Google CEO Eric Schmidt and the other people, and then he was trying to describe this ChatGPT, and generative AI is the greatest intellectual revolution after massive printing technology. And he said, with this printing technology we developed, almost 500 years ago, and that really opened up the common knowledge to the common people. Now, he's saying, we're gonna refine our human knowledge and intellect, into another level because of this one. Famous Bill Gates, he's saying AI is as groundbreaking as the computer and the internet revolution. And it will change the whole industry and whole way of living of the humankind, like the computer invention and the internet invention. So they are talking about, big change will come. There are another kind of approach about this AI, the development, within this way. They are saying this could be another different kind of industrial revolution. We are talking about first, second, and third, and fourth industrial revolution a lot, but they are saying up to this point, most of the revolution was there to replace the human body. They reduced a lot of effort of our body and the work of our body. Now, the difference of AI is now they are replacing our human brain. So this is the different kind of the revolution. And they are thinking, this will change and this will benefit a lot of things for us. Of course, there are many different benefits. And I know a lot of you have used this one, and that this is just amazing tool in terms of translation, in terms of English proofreading, in terms of taking a lot of idea. I believe the Paul, the next presenter, will talk about that one in detail. So I'm not going to cover that one, in detail over here. Some of the great thing, is happening. I have the mixed feeling about this one. The funny thing is South Korean Ministry of Education announced they will use the AI digital text book, within the middle school and the high school level from the 2025. So within 2 years, they said, we're going to use that and we're going to adopt, that thing within the classroom. I'm not sure about this one, but, I know there are a lot of benefits we could use this one to advance and to upgrade, our education structure and the system. Now, I want to move to the dangers. And a lot of people is giving the warning, okay, about this AI development. I'm going to focus more on this part, today, and because you know how to use it and how good this is. But a lot of people do not talk about this one. And that is why I want to say a little more about this one. It doesn't mean, I'm asking you, please don't use this one. But we need to use this one by knowing what could be the potential danger, okay, about it. one of my great teacher about this AI system whom I'm following all the time, he's saying this kind of metaphor about what's going on about AI right now. He said, it is more like at our house. Somebody came in and left the little gun, the revolver gun, on the desk. But there are a lot of people within the house, from the very baby level to the old people. And people do not know how to use it. So it might create the big disaster within the house. Maybe a child, can play with it and kill somebody because they do not know what that is. But some expert can use it to protect them in a good way, but also they can use that revolver gun to threatening our people, other people, and also use that gun, okay, and to steal somebody else's, and use that kind of power to manipulate others. I think this is the good metaphor what is going on with AI and ChatGPT within our society right now. So let's think about it and let's check out what could be the possible danger. I want to begin, with this person. There has been the famous incident, within the AI, the scale, and within 2020 December, the Google, the most advanced research company about AI, fired one woman from Ethiopia, and she was in charge of ethical research about AI within Google. And her name was Timnit Gebru. And the reason why they fired her was she was publishing the one article about AI. And the title of AI, that article was On the Dangers of Stochastic Parrot. So she compared this AI right now with the stochastic parrot. And most of the things, she was talking about within her article, actually, I added some other things, the later part, and was this one. And she was talking about, it generate a lot of lies. We talked about the hallucination. Okay, so that could be the very big danger. And now ChatGPT 3.5, had around 20% hallucination. And they said, they reduced that one into the 9% on GPT-4. And we are not sure. And it is very easy to find and make them lie. And if you ask the right question, I can do it anytime with it. Number two, she was saying it needs to be based on the extreme cost. And the people say to make the ChatGPT in 3.5 version, okay, and they said they used the $3 billion, okay, and only to make that program, they used the $3 billion US dollar. And also they need to spend the $0.1 million per day only to maintain, okay, those things. And that is how it's working. And also, as I said, she put stochastic parrot. AI is like that. Stochastic means the randomly determined. So they are out of human hand. We do not know how they are functioning, how they are finding answer, how they are generating the result. So we do not know. And that is why, she's saying it could be very dangerous because we do not know how it's working. And she said, it could be the very wrong base data. As you know, they started only English version, okay? And maybe 80 to 90% of what they studied was based on the English. And also it is based on the dominant culture of Europe and USA and Canada. Not that much Chinese, the resources were there to generate their answers. So base data is limited, and dominated by the main culture, it could be very dangerous. And also, this is what I added, she didn't say, this could be the danger, massive AI production. Now AI is making a lot of things. And if that is available, that will be the base data for the future AI. And people are saying AI generated pictures now maybe will be more than half of all pictures within the internet within 2 years. And now the big problem is AI illiteracy. A lot of people do not know AI or ChatGPT will be almost destroyed and completely lost their chance within the future society. So AI knowledge will discriminate the people according to it. Now I'm trying to show some of things happening because of AI and ChatGPT. This is the famous science fiction magazine, and they stop accepting new submission into this magazine due to the massive surprise. Look at this one. This is the, showing, okay, and the December of 2022, and which is the ChatGPT came out, and look at this, okay? The massive supply submission happened because of ChatGPT use. So they could generate the whole science fiction novel, okay? And very easily, that's why this thing happened. Now within USA, and there has been the strike by, we call the Writers Guild, and these are the writers who are making a lot of script and the scenario for the drama and the movies. And they were asking the two things, okay? And you need to give us the copyright as most of other writers. And also they said, do not use AI instead of us. The funny thing is that was the first human strike against AI, and that happened within USA. But the funny thing is a lot of companies said, yes, we could honor your copyright. The problem is we cannot accept your request about AI because it is so powerful and very functional. And also there has been the fake news about Pentagon is on fire, and a lot of people got shocked, but they came out as the deep fake by AI. Another funny thing was happening, and one US Air Force, the person said they had a little simulation with AI drone, okay? And when, they were changing the things and they attacked the human operator. And the human operator said, okay, you cannot kill any human being. And then they attacked the antenna, okay, which is making the connection between operator and the AI drone. People now saying, it was not true, but, they made the 1-hour presentation about this thing within the big conference in British. And also interesting thing, happened, in Korea was one book came out written by ChatGPT. And the funny thing is the title of that book is the 45 ways to find meaning of life. Meaning of life. They said it took only 7 hours to write down whole content. It took only 30 hours to publish everything as a book. Now I'm trying to show you what Stanford, has done, and from their student, and they were asking, this is January, okay, survey. So right after the winter semester, the fourth semester and the second semester, and they had this one. And they were asking, did you use ChatGPT for your final exam in December? And I think 17% of people said, yes, we use ChatGPT. And they were asking, how do they use it? And with the brainstorming outlining, very simple use is 59%. You can check it out. But 5.5% of the students said, we just generated the answer and then copy and paste. But we got a really good grade out of it. And they were asking, is that ethical to use the ChatGPT? They were asking, is that the violation of the academic code? And a lot of people said yes, but look at that, 13% of the students said it is not violation of the code, whether we use it or not in any kind of way. And also, I'm trying to remind you, a lot of AI experts now is warning AI danger. Actually, in March, when ChatGPT 4 came out, a lot of people kind of put some statement, we call the AI experiment, the pause, of AI experiment. And the record was this one, and they were suggesting, let's stop for 6 months, about this development. But not all of them, really signed it. And that is why, some of the new thing came out a little later, and which is May 31st came up, and which is about this statement on AI risk. And AI expert and public figures expressed their concern about AI risk. It is interesting who signed up. Geoffrey Hinton, known as the godfather of AI, Joshua Bengio, and Jan LeCun and Andrew Wang, and they are the fathers of the deep learning. Actually, in the March statement, these two people didn't sign up, and who was the Sam Altman, CEO of OpenAI, and Bill Gates didn't sign up, but they signed it this time. And David Hassabis and some of the Korean scholars, I put it, over here. Two people didn't sign up, and who was the Jan LeCun and the Andrew Wang. And Jan LeCun is the head research development, within Meta. And the other more than 1,000 AI experts in the world signed up on this one sentence statement. And which is this, very simple. Mitigating the risk of extinction from AI should be global priority alongside other societal and scale risks such as pandemic and the nuclear war. That means they are taking this AI danger could be like the pandemic, like a nuclear weapon. Time covered this statement, read this title, Read the End of Humanity. And this is the second version of their title article within February about AI. Yeah, I'm going to skip this part time because, this is the thing. And the most important thing, we need to think, about AI is this one. I think that my time is almost up, so let me finish up. And this is the ethical guidelines suggested, for the trustworthy AI. They had a big discussion in 2019 and 2019 again, and by the Association of Computer Machinery, and the EU also gave the 7. The first 3 is the we call the FAT principle, and then they added the 4 later. And let me introduce one. We need to use the AI based on the fairness. We need to think about it need to be ethical, non-discriminatory. You need to honor diversity and no monopoly of this one. Number 2, accountability. We cannot pass the responsibility of the problem to AI, and humans need to be responsible. Transparency. We need to have the explainable data and the algorithm. And also, we need to be clear this is the AI generated or not. We need to clearly distinguish. Number 4, you need to have the human control. You need to for human, by human, and of human. Number 5, we need to guarantee the safety and the durability. You need to be free from hallucination, and also you need to be protected by any kind of hacking or manipulation by others. And also we need to protect the privacy and the data control. And we are providing a lot of personal information and a lot of data into it, and how we're going to do it. Number 7 is global and ecological welfare. Now, it is extremely expensive and using a lot of electricity and a lot of money. Is that really beneficial for all? Look at this one. The problem is current AI do not follow any of this one. None of this 7. Now, I'm trying to conclude, with the person's warning, and which is the Jeffrey Hinton, who is known as the godfather of AI. He's 75 years old. Actually, after GPT-4, he left Google. And he had an interview with some people. And he said this one, actually, I regret my whole life dedicating for AI research. And he said, now I'm going to use my rest of my life to let the people know about AI danger. And he said, we need to clearly know this current AI is different from human intelligence. If we are taking that one using that, there will be a lot of danger. And he put this way, the problem is unsafe AI is the first one, but the bigger problem is stupid users. And who are the stupid users? Who do not know what exactly this is and how it operates and what kind of thing could happen because of this one, and don't consider, and they are using this one for the benefit or profit of themselves only. Without knowing it, they should not use it. And they do not know how we can properly use this one. Now, I want to introduce the one famous TED talk about this one. The Dr. Che Ye-jin from University of Washington was giving the very famous, the TED lecture, about AI. And her title was this one, Why AI is incredibly smart, yet shockingly stupid. Yes, we need to know why they are smart, at the same time, very stupid. Without knowing this one, we are not able to properly handle this one. What she's saying is this one. She said the why this thing happened and is, giving the metaphor like this. Our human knowledge about whole universe, she said, only 5%. 95% is about the dark energy and dark materials. But we know our knowledge is only 5%. And that is why we can manage these things, imagining there are some other we do not know. But AI right now only know the 5% of what's going on about the intelligence. But they are thinking they know only 5%, but they are thinking they know everything. And that is why, they are generating a lot of stupid things. Sounds like they know everything. And she said that is the biggest difference. This AI do not know what do they know and what do they not know. And that is giving the big difference, over here. I think that applies to us about AI. Thank you for the listening. Let me stop here. And because, we're going to have the great talk by the Paul Shu, about how to use it. Now, I'm going to pass this one, to Paul. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Let me get my computer set up here just a moment. I'm going to share my screen so others can see it as well. Okay, I think everyone can see my screen now. I'm Paul Shu from Ayamagakuin University, and I'm a member of the Institute for Technological and Social Transformation, which focuses specifically on AI-related themes from a social and I would say liberal arts perspective. So we're really interested in how AI is impacting and changing society, and we are looking at it from many, many different perspectives. I personally have been involved with this kind of research for many, many years. I'll skip over this. All right. And as I talk today, I would like to invite everyone who's participating to please think of some questions that you may have, questions or comments, feedback. You may have a different perspective than I do. You may think that I'm not good at explaining something. And if you notice anything like that, please make a note, share it in the chat, and I'd like to have discussion when we're done. So your questions, your comments, your feedback are very important for today's presentation and our dialogue together. All right, I'd like to start with just a little bit of information about artificial intelligence and where we are at the moment. And this, it's interesting listening to Dr. Pike. We presented together in February, and he and I have somewhat different perspectives on things. I hope that the diversity here will be helpful to all of the participants today as well. So in general, artificial intelligence is a computer system that exhibits intelligence in responding to queries and tasks. And I think that it is interesting how that definition has changed over time. So fundamentally, artificial intelligence is nothing but a system of computer algorithms that demonstrates intelligence in some ways. Now, originally, from the 1950s on, the first kind of, quote, artificial intelligence was simply a series of questions and answers were input into a computer, so someone else could go to the computer, ask a question, and get the pre-programmed answer out. And that was called artificial intelligence. From the 1980s on, machine learning was developed, and machine learning offered a way to put in a great deal of data and analyze it in a way to get meaningful results that could be helpful for things. So machine learning provided ways to analyze and use data in ways that humans alone could not. So it harnessed computer power for that. And then finally, in the last 15 years has been the rise of neural networks and deep learning. And that's, I think, the current interest and explosion and boom in artificial intelligence is coming out of the new kind of intelligence based on neural networks. And that's much more based on the kind of intelligence that we observe in humans and other mammals, primarily on this planet. So the current state of generative AI. Everyone today knows ChatGPT quite well. Even for those of us who are working in this field, ChatGPT's abilities were somewhat of a surprise. There have been many, many AI chatbots over the years, many similar technologies. For those who were not carefully following what was happening with GPT 3.0 before that, when ChatGPT came on the scene in the end of November last year, it was kind of a wake-up call that, wow, we finally have some really useful AI that can be used for many, many general tasks. Of course, there was very specific applications that AI could be used for previously, but nothing that could come close to fooling a human in any way, and certainly not the chatbots. However, the latest large language models of generative AI are extremely good with language generation. In a sense, I think the big breakthrough is that AI has mastered human language. And ChatGPT and other systems tend to write with confidence. So the answers and the text and the dialogue that is produced by those machines, on average, are better than most humans. Their letters are more polished. Their English grammar is perfect. I speak and read Japanese as well. Their Japanese is excellent. It can be used for proofreading. It doesn't make mistakes. They've really mastered human language. It's quite extraordinary. However, the AI systems currently in usage are all information aggregators. It's very important to understand this. ChatGPT and other similar systems are extracting and synthesizing information that has been put into it, mainly information that has been gathered from around the internet. So it is not creating new information. There's nothing new that ChatGPT is thinking up itself. It is simply finding information that has been fed to it and extracting that and synthesizing that in good English or good Korean or good Japanese language and putting it out. Now, there are some important emergent abilities that we are seeing, and I think that's very significant, very interesting. For example, there are some translation abilities, some other abilities that were not programmed into it, but the AI systems themselves figured out how to do, and that is because their neural network systems have gotten large enough that without being instructed how to translate or how to do this, it is able to figure it out itself. And those are emergent abilities that reflect the incredible computer systems and algorithms that these are based on now. So it's really the progression of the size of and complexity of the neural networks. Now, the limitations, I think, are obvious to anyone who has used them at all. They're factually unreliable. They are far less reliable than even Wikipedia. Sometimes they're spot on and give good answers, but other times they give answers that are just not correct. Those are most easily obvious if you ask it simple math word problems. ChatGPT is well known for being very poor at even counting how many words are in a sentence and things like that. And the reason that it's so unreliable for so many things is partially because there is no deep understanding. That's very significant. There's no deeper understanding going on here. Current AI systems are still narrow AI or weak AI. There's different levels of artificial intelligence. It starts out with narrow AI, then you have strong AI or artificial general intelligence, and then super AI. Well, general AI or strong AI is said to be approximately equal to the intelligence of a human being. And in some ways, it appears that ChatGPT is smarter than humans. Certainly, they can do better proofreading and better translating than most humans. They're above humans, above most humans in those abilities. However, there's no underlying understanding that is backing that up. And so it's certainly not artificial general intelligence, although there are some sparks of general intelligence in there. It is clear that ChatGPT and some of the other AI systems now have a particular world view and are inching toward, they're moving toward becoming more generally intelligent, but they're not there yet. And it's very important for us as educators, as students, as administrators in schools to recognize that the generative AI systems that we see now are not general AI, and that the intelligence that we see coming from them is fundamentally different from human intelligence. So we should not equate it with human intelligence. It is a different kind of intelligence based on machine learning and neural network, not based on the kind of brain that we have. And it certainly didn't learn it like we did either, because each one of us started as a blank sheet and learned through experience over many, many years. ChatGPT, on the other hand, was trained, fed information, and then turned on with the flip of a switch. And ChatGPT and other AI systems do not improve by themselves. They are fed more information by their managers, by the humans who manage and maintain them, but the systems themselves are not growing and learning on their own. That's also very important to understand. A true artificial general intelligence will be able to learn on its own continually. And the current AI systems do not do that. And there's no simple pathway to see how they will. Of course, there's ideas about making those systems for the future, but they're not here now. I think it's also important to point out that although major corporations are developing proprietary AI systems, open source large language models are also improving at a very fast pace. I was very glad that Dr. Pike raised the issues of the public warnings that have been published. I'm interested in those myself. I think that those kind of warnings are helpful. However, I think it's extremely unlikely that there will be any pause in AI development, because there are so many different parties developing AI. There's private corporations, there's governments, there's individuals working on open source projects, and there's no practical way to stop them. So let's talk about practical use cases of artificial intelligence in education. I think this is what many people are especially interested in. I want to look starting with students, and then faculty and staff in schools as well. I will preface this by saying, I think that the use of artificial intelligence in education is unavoidable. As educators, we have a responsibility, a duty to adapt to the use of AI in education. In the 1990s and around the year 2000, schools everywhere around the world adopted to using computers in education. We adopted to using search engines. We adopted to the idea of students writing papers on computers, and then later even submitting them online. We cannot think of doing education and research today without the use of computers and the internet. Lacking computers, lacking the internet would be a great disadvantage in education today. And no parent would want to send their children to a school that did not use computers or the internet as a part of overall education. Well, AI is heading that same direction. In 5 years, no parent is going to want to send their school to, no parent is going to want to send their child to a school that absolutely forbids AI everywhere. It's just going to be a part of life. We have to get used to it. But the key is how to use it responsibly, how to make the best use of it, and what are the problems, where are the risks, and how can we avoid those? We need to pursue excellence in education and research with the use of AI as another helpful digital tool. So that's my basic take on AI in education. So for students, there are many ways to make good use of AI for your classes, for your studies. First, AI can be used as an email and writing assistant. It can help students to craft polite letters when they need to write to faculty or staff, or even if they need to write outside the school. It can help them to write appropriate letters. It's very good at writing good, polite letters. And right along with that is proofreading. It's very good at proofreading in many, many languages. I use this myself. I write in English and Japanese, especially when I'm writing in Japanese, which is the second language for me. I use ChatGPT to help proofread. Let me just show you a couple examples for email and proofreading. So here is an example that comes from a real world example. A student sent me an email that was inappropriate, and so I gave suggestions on how they could ask ChatGPT to write appropriately. And here's the kind of email the student was able to produce from that. Here is proofreading. You can ask ChatGPT to proofread either as a native speaker or a secondary speaker, speaking as a second language. It's very good. I would caution, however, that sometimes ChatGPT makes unauthorized changes to your text. You must go back and check it carefully, because sometimes ChatGPT will inadvertently change the meaning or insert a sentence that you don't want or need. So if you're going to use ChatGPT to help write or to help proofread, you do need to carefully go through it again to check it. Because it's so good at text, it can do things like summarizing text. If you have a long article and you just want to get a quick summary of it, it can do that. ChatGPT is very good at translating. There are many very good online automatic translation tools, and the new AI systems are all very good at that. I think one of the best ways that students can use ChatGPT and other systems like that is for generating ideas. If you have something that you're working on and you need a dialogue partner, it's hard to brainstorm on your own. It's hard to just sit there and think on your own. A lot of people tend to work well, and it helps them to think about things if they have a dialogue partner. And these new AI systems can be that dialogue partner. This can be great for students, staff, faculty, anyone. Anytime when you're working on a difficult issue, you need to think deeply about it. You need more ideas. ChatGPT is very good for that kind of a dialogue. Some of the ideas will be incredibly stupid, but they can make you think. They can help you to think deeply about these things. For example, here's an idea. On the left-hand side, you can see the input. Here, I'm giving a presentation related to artificial intelligence and ethics in a class. We have to choose a specific theme within that to focus on. Can you suggest a number of relevant themes that would be interesting for a class presentation and discussion? And then ChatGPT came up with 10 different ideas to think about. And as a student, you can look over these and you can think, okay, some of these they're not going to work for me, and some others, oh, hey, that's good. Let's take that. Let's work with it some more. It can really help you to work on ideas. All right. And that using ChatGPT to generate ideas and to think through things, I think is always a good and appropriate use of this technology. It can also help writing essays. If you need assistance writing essays, you can ask ChatGPT to help you with, what is a good structure for an essay. ChatGPT does know how essays should be structured. It can help with an outline. You can put an outline. You can get it critiqued. There's many ways that you can get assistance with writing. However, of course, you should not ask ChatGPT to write the essay for you, because then it won't be your essay and you won't learn anything. So you can use it for assistance, but you have to be careful to moderate that appropriately. When you're working on a topic where you need to memorize information and learn something and work through content, ChatGPT can be very helpful with providing introductory information about themes. If you're looking for basic introductory level material, then ChatGPT is pretty good. If you want more detailed, specialized knowledge, it's quite unreliable. So if you're looking at introductory themes for a college class, probably ChatGPT can help explain concepts to you. And if you want to get some review questions to see if you understand it or not, ChatGPT can generate review questions for you, and even give you the right answer and explain why that is the right answer. And it's pretty good at those kinds of tasks, pretty reliable if you're looking for information on introductory level college courses. The key to using ChatGPT well is good prompts. And as you use it, you learn how to do it. And if you ask it to do something and what you want or what is helpful doesn't come out, you can ask it to change it. You should look at it as a dialogue. Prompting ChatGPT should be like a dialogue. If you get something, some output that is not quite what you wanted, just ask again. And eventually you will get something that is more helpful for you. So these are this is an example of asking it to make 5 multiple choice review questions. Bang, 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 there they are. And then the answers and explanations of why each one is correct. It's really good at this, which can help study introductory material. Now, faculty can use ChatGPT in many of the same ways as a communication assistant for proofreading, summarizing, translating, generating ideas, and even help writing. And yes, sometimes faculty need help too, to think about things, to think about structure, putting in perhaps a section of a paper that you're working on and asking ChatGPT to comment on the structure of that section. It can help with those things as well. Of course, ChatGPT is terrible for research. Do not ask it to do research. It will generate something that looks like research, but it will just be hallucination. So ChatGPT is terrible for research. Anyone who has tried that knows that it's no good for doing real research with. However, I think for faculty, we should think about our approach to teaching with ChatGPT and other AI systems like it. I think going in, we need to clarify with the students what is acceptable use, including how students should cite AI and how it should be used in writing. When I work with students, I insist that if they use ChatGPT, that they include at the end of the paper how they used it. That's very important, so that you know what they use it for. I think it's okay to use it, but we should be clear up front that they need to explain how they use it and what they're doing with it, so that they don't use it improperly. And we should give assignments to students that require the students to reflect on things and require the students to actually go do their own research, so that they cannot just simply rely on ChatGPT. So even if they want to ask ChatGPT to write the essay for them, it won't work. For classes that involve a lot of writing assignments or a big writing assignment, one very good way to help with this is require that the writing assignments be done in multiple stages. So first, the students have to submit a proposal. They have to submit an outline. Then they have to submit their first draft and their second draft, and then their final paper, so that you can see all the stages along the way. And perhaps they would use ChatGPT in some of those stages, but by breaking down the writing process into those stages, it becomes clear that they're doing it themselves and they're thinking through each part of the process. Of course, promoting use of library and research materials is extremely important, so that they are forced to go to the library and are forced to use those materials. We have to emphasize the proper use of citations, use of sources, and how to cite them properly. I think now, even more than before, we need to emphasize where information is coming from. What is your source? You cannot just write something in a paper without showing where you got that information from. I think that that is just critical information for research papers and for reports written by students as well. Especially in the age of AI, we need to have a clear trail of where information is coming from, because without that, we have no indication of its trustworthiness. So that's important as we're teaching students. Now, for staff, I'm pretty positive about staff using artificial intelligence in their work when it makes sense for them. I think that school staff should experiment and find ways to use AI that makes their work easier and more efficient, and especially for communications, for event planning, for creating the meetings of minutes, and those kinds of things. AI can be a great assistance to them. Just like for faculty and staff, it can help with brainstorming. It can be a writing assistance. There's a lot that AI systems can be used for, even for staff. And that's why large corporations like Microsoft and some other corporations are now encouraging all of their employees to use AI. It's not necessarily so that people will work less, but so that people will work smarter and have higher quality output. And I think that we as a school, whether it's secondary or higher education, we can expect more from our staff, more from our faculty, more from our students, if they are using these new digital tools to enhance their work and improve what they're doing. However, I think that especially with staff, it does require careful supervision. You cannot just use stuff that comes out of ChatGPT straight like that in the workplace. So I would be nervous about having junior staff members or new staff members using AI in the workplace. I think that the more senior staff members who have more knowledge, who have better judgment, who know how things are supposed to be done, they are the ones that can really make the important judgments on what is good output and what is not, what needs to be changed, what is okay. So I think that especially in the early stages of using AI in the workplace, probably the more junior staff members should steer clear, and the more senior staff members are the ones who should try it and find out the ways that can be used best and provide the mature supervision that is absolutely required to make it used appropriately. So that is the practical ways that it can be used. Now let's talk about risks. And this is very important. I think that we've already touched on some of the risks so far, but I want to talk about 3 specific risks in education. First is interference in education. Next, interference in research, and existential risk to human society. So when we're talking about interference in education, I mean shortchanging education, okay? Students need to develop their intellectual capacity and not just get right answers. The purpose of college is not to quickly turn in homework and get a good score on it. The purpose of college, the output, the outcome that we're looking for is to develop intellectual capacity in young people so that they can contribute positively to the world and society around them. And if they're just using ChatGPT to do all their work, they will not develop. Understanding and growth requires hard work. It requires engagement. It requires really sweating and dealing with difficult issues and thinking about it and time. And so we must not let students use AI as a quick and easy homework machine. If it's just being used as a homework machine, then it is undermining education itself. Because the desired outcome that we're looking for is personal growth, intellectual development, character development, creative thinking, ethical development, and all of those things are going to take very hard work and engagement by the students with the material and with their faculty. So the face-to-face interaction and engagement with faculty is also extremely important. And the danger is that will just be shortchanged, and that ChatGPT can be an easy homework machine. So that's the big risk from an educational standpoint. Now, I think interference in research is also a critical risk. Faculty are pushed to publish. The saying, of course, is publish or perish. And especially younger faculty are going to be tempted to use ChatGPT to write papers, to write chapters, books, to get things published. But it must not be used as a shortcut to publishing, because it lacks real understanding. That is the critical problem with AI systems. They do not have real or deep understanding. Humans do. Our junior faculty members are light years ahead of the most advanced AI systems. And the real insight, the real new knowledge is coming from humans. All of the new knowledge and new discovery requires the human input and the human insight. And so if we try to rely too much on AI, then I think we're going to miss out on those really important discoveries and new insights that come from the hard research that we need to be engaged in. All right, and now the existential risk. This one actually is I think the biggest one. The biggest risk with AI comes from how AI can inadvertently shape society as a whole. There is a risk of over-reliance on AI and over-trusting AI. There's already people who are idolizing AI and thinking that AI knows better than humans, as if AI was unbiased or had secret information or something. Unfortunately, humans are too easily influenced, and especially with when it comes to social media and memes and those kinds of things. It's too easy for AI to be able to shape our society and our culture. Now, currently, AI by itself cannot do this. However, bad actors in society can use AI for malevolent purposes. Bad actors can use AI to create fake news stories, to create false information and memes. I think, for example, QAnon, the QAnon conspiracy has been a big issue since Donald Trump came to power. But that whole QAnon phenomenon can become even worse because of AI. AI, unfortunately, can be used to spread misinformation and false information, false political information. And we have to be very, very careful about that. If you just think for a second, all of us are tremendously influenced by our culture, by the society around us, by the news. Okay, we are in a kind of bubble of information. For example, do you think that the current war going on in Ukraine is justified? Do you want the Ukrainians to win, or do you want the Russians to prevail? Well, your answer to that has more to do with the media you are consuming. It has more to do with the culture around you that is shaping the information that you are receiving than your own personal ethical judgments. Our ethical judgments are shaped powerfully by the society and the culture around us. AI has mastered human language. It has the keys to our culture. And so there is absolutely the possibility for AI to be used to manipulate our culture and to manipulate our society in the way that people think. I think we are the Asia Pacific Association of Methodist Educational Institutions. This today's presentation is happening as a part of the APAMEI monthly international forum, APAMEI, Methodist schools. And it is helpful for us to think about this issue from a biblical and Christian perspective that is reflected in our Methodist education values. What is AI and what is human? Now, this is a very good opportunity for us to reflect on the differences and the distinctions and what is particularly distinctive about us as humans that AI will never have. Genesis chapter 1 is the creation story, extremely important for Christian theology and Christian worldview, understanding who we are in the universe. And the part of that that talks about the creation of humans is written as it says here, and I have written here on the screen. Then God said, let us make humankind in our own image, in our own likeness, so that they may rule over the fish in the sea and the birds in the sky, over the livestock and all the wild animals, and over all the creatures that move above the ground. So God created humankind in his own image. In the image of God, he created them, male and female. He created them. So the Bible teaches from 3,000 years ago that humans were created in the image of God. Of course, God is not a physical reality that we can see, so there's talking about something deeper than the physical being. What does it mean to be a human created in the image of God? I think that there are three distinctives here that can help us think about what does it mean to be human in relation to what does it mean to be an AI system. Number one, we are intelligent beings. God has given us intelligence, intelligence above any other living being on this planet. We can understand the universe. We can understand ourselves. We can understand God. We can understand each other. We have an incredibly powerful intellectual capacity that should be celebrated. It's an amazing thing. Now, we share some of that with AI, and I think increasingly AI will also have an amazing intellectual capacity. But that originates with our intellectual capacity. Number two, we are emotional beings. We can love, we feel pain, we grieve, we cry, we empathize with others, we feel other people's pain in our own hearts. Other people's struggles make us hurt. Other people's joy can make us laugh. We know what it means to feel awe. We know what it means to love and to forgive. That emotional capacity is part of what makes us humans. Now, of course, animals also have an emotional capacity, but I would argue that the human emotional capacity is far more advanced, far more subtle than that of animals. And that is something that AI, as far as we know now, will never have. And the last is we are ethical beings. We as humans can discern what is right and wrong. We do not live simply by instinct as the animals do. We rise above instinct to judge what is right and what is wrong. And having emotional capacity, having intelligent capacity, having ethical capacity, we are able of our own free will to choose what is right and good. Of our own free will, we can choose to do good in this world. That is a distinct human capacity that AI may never have. AI has no ethical capacity. All of the ethical reasoning or capacity that AI has been directly programmed in by the human managers of that project. AI on its own has some intellectual capacity that it can learn, but it has no ethical or emotional capacity. And so this this combined mix of intelligence, emotion, and ethical capacity gives humans a very important role on this planet, no matter how much AI advances. And in fact, I think going forward, our role in exercising our intelligence capacity, our emotional capacity, and especially our ethical capacity will be key So education that cultivates our humanity is going to become more and more important as AI becomes commonplace in our world, in our workplaces, and in our schools. Our students, our faculty, and our staff need to become even better at critical thinking. They need to become even better at ethical discernment. And we need to always seek emotional maturity. And I think that especially as Methodist schools, we are able to answer these kinds of challenges that lie ahead of us in the age of AI. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Paul, for that inspiring but very challenging presentation. At this point, may I call on Dr. Connie Semi-Mela to facilitate our discussion. Thank you very much to our speakers, both of them. You can see the way they're looking at AI from different perspectives, but they all agree on the same thing. For Dr. Yang Min Peg, AI is not for stupid learners. And for Dr. Paul Show, AI is for judicious, mature, and critical learners, users, I mean. Those who can think judiciously. So there is the key there to what they are talking about. Although still I have questions regarding what you mean about AI manifesting a different kind of intelligence from us human, Dr. Paul.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. I didn't check the chat until I finished speaking, so I just saw the question now. Yeah. You know, I'll speak on it a little bit, and then Dr. Pike can also try to answer that, because I think that that's an interesting thing to think about. I have been using ChatGPT for 6 months now, and it's very interesting. In some ways, there is certainly an intelligence there. Some people say that it's just randomly creating text by statistics, but it's not. There is absolutely some intelligence going on in that neural network. And if you use it enough, you can see it. And sometimes it gives interesting, surprising answers that are helpful, but it's not the way that humans think. It's really very different. You know, humans are drawing on their own life experience and their own perspective, but ChatGPT does not have its own perspective. It doesn't have any experiences at all. ChatGPT is just drawing on the bank of human knowledge. It's just taking human knowledge and trying to distill it to find answers to the questions that are being asked of it. And that's very different than what we do. You know, as humans, we have a whole lifetime of experience, and we have perspective and thoughts, and we think deeply about these things. And so sometimes actually we are providing answers based on relatively little knowledge. When you think about it, you know, humans, to be honest, are often speaking and writing based on only a small amount of the knowledge available. ChatGPT is writing based on a huge amount of knowledge. So, you know, what it's drawing on is very different than what we're drawing on. We can take a little bit and we can infer, we can expand, we can think about it, and we can come up with solutions to that. But ChatGPT doesn't work like us.
Yeah, let me add a few things, you know, about the same discussion. And I think that Jeffrey Hinton, and who is the godfather of AI, was talking about this way. And he explained this way. Now, you know, this AI within our life is more like it. Alien came into our life and trying to say a lot of things and trying to teach a lot of knowledge. But alien is speaking our language too well, and that is why we do not understand that is alien. So alien has the different way of thinking, different, way of ethic, and the different way of vision for the future. But we are thinking, they are one of us. And that is why we are taking a lot of knowledge, from it. Another, the respectful, the scholar from Korea was trying to say this one, how they are different. And they are saying, when we are saying human intelligence, maybe they could be pretty similar or overcome those things. But he said, we need to distinguish human intelligence with human intellect. And human intellect, had the certain things, including ethics and the human wisdom. And as I said, some of the Writers Guild, and put their sign, about their strike against AI, they put this one. AI never went to high school. AI never built up the family. AI never be in love. So, that Korean scholar was thinking the human intellect include some of things, we know something, but we know that will not be beneficial for them. And that is why they're not going to say it. Maybe they're going to make the different decision. And sometimes it is not the best thing for us, but we are willing to sacrifice for the sake of the other, for the sake of the goodness of the community, although that is not best way for me. So that is the difference. And that is why we cannot trust the whole this AI, large language model for everything. We need to distinguish they could do the good job for certain part. And also, there are some of the very dangerous or something, missing, from them. And we need to have that wisdom to distinguish how we're going to use this AI and for the benefit of everybody. Let me stop here, Connie.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Paul and Dr. Yang Min. We have a question from Major Neer Jamasi here. And then after I'll be reading this, I'll be asking questions or comments from Wesleyan University, Philippines, because we have here Dr. Israel Benaventura and Dr. Alan Cabas, and also one question or comment from Southern Philippines Methodist Colleges a little later. Okay, so the question from Major Neer Jamasi is, inventions are a result of out-of-the-box thinking, whereas artificial intelligence is pre-trained. I think it's going to hamper it. Please comment, Dr. Paul and Dr. Yang Min. So again, inventions are a result of the out-of-the-box thinking, whereas artificial intelligence is pre-trained.
Yeah.
I think it's going to hamper it. Okay, your comment, please.
Yeah, I think that you've made a very good, insightful comment there. I don't think that the current AI has any real new insight in things. It's not inventing anything at all. It's just distilling what humans have already taught it. And when we read those things, there's some things that are new to me. There's things that are new to me, but there's not something that is new to humanity. It's not coming up with original things on its own. However, writing a research paper, coming up with something new on your own does require thinking deeply about things and getting all the information you can and then thinking about it. So I do think that ChatGPT and other AI systems can help us to create new knowledge. They can help us to make new knowledge and to make discoveries, and it's very good assistance for us in that. But at this point, the AI that we have now, I don't think is doing that on its own.
Maybe two things, about that question. And some people are saying the little different approach. They are saying this AI is not the invention. And some people is accepting this one as this is the discovery. And, which is the very different approach, to understand this one. And also, another thing, I want to say over here is, I mean, it has the clear limitation, and that is something, we need to know. Yeah, but it could be updated and upgraded dramatically, within very short period of time. And that is why I think many problems, will disappear, okay? And from our talk, I think in terms of, their massive usage of electricity and the ecological problem, I think they're going to find the way to reduce it. I'm pretty sure. And in terms of hallucination, and they're going to correct a lot of things, although they cannot make it perfect. From GPT 3.5 to GPT 4, they have increased a lot, okay? And in terms of English conversation, I think, they, made, pretty much, big upgrade, about fixing the wrong information from their system. But because of they are pre-trained and they are still pretty not accurate, about Japanese information or Korean information, but they're gonna catch up a lot of things, in pretty short. So I think, we need to think about, more fundamental and as, Paul said, existential, okay, danger and the bigger level to understand this one.
If with your permission, may I say something?
Mhm.
So,
Yes,
like,
please.
my daughter has graduated in fashion designing, and she was telling me that her mentors, they tell her that those days when information was not available globally by touch of a button, they used to there used to be a lot of creativity seen in the students. Like when students used to get back the work, like going to their homes, and then next day they will come back with their homework. There used to be variety in that things they created. But now, because they are so much influenced by the information or things which are available or data available on the net or by use of AI, that more or less they are thinking on the same lines. So that is why I thought that it is going to kill the creativity at our level. This is like one of the thoughts that came into my mind, and I thought it was a platform where I could share it. So thank you very much for
But that's a very good, that's a very helpful insight about some of the dangers of AI and how AI can influence society in a way that is negative, because that reduces creativity in our society.
But, let me say the little different angle, okay? And, a lot of people are talking about, the creativity of AI. It's impossible. But when I think about the creativity of human being, are we really making completely new ones? Or we are making something based on what we know and little twist or a little different angle, okay, to make it. Within that side, maybe, ChatGPT is still, make some of the creative things, okay? But I think the bigger problem over there is they are pre-trained with existing document, which has a lot of prejudice within it. And based on the dominant culture and the dominant document direction. And that is more problem. Okay. And the biggest kind of worries about ChatGPT is if people are using this one too much, and everybody will have the pretty similar idea, and there will be no diverse opinion and we call the minor opinion. Okay. But we are trained to respect the minor opinion and very concerning about the least. But this ChatGPT, with their statistics, they are choosing, what is the most popular, okay, and things going on within the world, and that is why everybody is heading into that dominant and major opinion only. That could be the big danger, okay, we need to consider.
Thank you. And one more point, just one more. I know we have to give opportunity to others, but just one more that I really the emphasis which is put on the ethics. So can't we feed this ethics also? Like, because actually AI works on the information that we feed. So if we are feeding all the good things also, so we will not affect its because it is extrapolating already existing
Sound.
conditions are there and the possible reactions are there. So I was just thinking that when we say that education is training the mind to think, and we as Christian Methodist education is training the mind to think with heart, mind, and soul, like holistic development, using the ethics and all. So I just thought that if it could be one of the things to definitely. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Nirja. We have a question from Wesleyan University, Philippines, from Dr. Cabas, but I think you need to categorize or to substantiate your question, Dr. Cabas, because Paul has a remark already. So at the age of artificial intelligence, do you think embodied learning or knowing is still relevant? And the question of Dr. Paul is, what do you mean by embodied learning? So Dr. Cabas, can you comment on this before Dr. Paul will respond? Do you hear me?
I
Okay,
mean,
good.
when we say hello,
Yeah,
Yes.
we can hear you.
it is about when I say embodied knowing, you know, embodied knowing is it's about the knowledge that resides in our body, meaning it is from our senses, not only from our body, but it also through the body. No, the knowledge gained through the body and that resides in our body. It is the what I mean of embodied knowing. Do you think it's still relevant? Because when I use Chat GPT,
Unmute pala ako.
and everything has
Pwede ako niyan.
everything has Chat GPT has an answer.
Kailangan unmute ako para makapagsalita.
Okay, but I don't know if that's why I am asking if it's still relevant that we need our senses, we need to experience something when it comes to research, because in research it's already there. When I also ask ChatGPT about a certain module for learning, outcome-based learning, especially in social responsibility and the Methodist, he has the answer. That's why I'm asking if it's still relevant now, the embodied knowing.
I'm not that familiar with the term, but it seems that there's a lot of human knowledge that comes from our experience in the world through our senses. Our senses of touching things and experiencing the world around us. I don't think that ChatGPT will ever know what it means to ride a bicycle, but we do, and that's a kind of knowledge that we have in our bodies through our senses. That's important to us. So I think that kind of knowledge and experience is important for us and will continue to be. And perhaps even our spiritual experiences are a kind of embodied knowledge that's very important for us.
Okay, thank you, Paul. And now I think we are ready to listen to the sharing or insight from Bishop Nakpil. Can somebody please unmute Bishop Nakpil? Please, can somebody assist in unmuting Bishop Nakpil? We could not hear him.
Actually, only he can do it now.
Okay.
I requested unmute himself now, but he doesn't do it? Yeah.
Bishop,
well,
unfortunately,
press the
we
red
cannot hear
button,
you.
Bishop. Where's Jake? Please call Jack Bishop, please.
Okay, well, Bishop nagpilis unmuting himself. I will just read the comment from Southern Philippines Methodist colleges. I don't think if they need your response about this. There is a need for the education sector, the academe, to address the level of analytical or critical capability of today's generation of learners and students. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
we agree. We agree.
Yeah, yeah. That's a very good comment. Yep.
Yeah. So
Yep.
there's especially our liberal arts education. We need to strengthen that. Yeah, okay, Bishop is here.
Okay, can you hear me now, please?
Yes,
Yes.
Bishop.
Okay. I am very grateful for being educated on AI by our two speakers. They make me very proud. But I would like to make a few theological statements. The first thing that I would like to say is for us to understand as best as we can that artificial intelligence and everything else that it has created is artificial. And therefore, there is a need for us, theologically speaking, to distinguish what is artificial from what is real. What is our evaluation of artificial intelligence in relation to, for example, what Paul Shu had said about God creating the human? Now, which is real? Artificial intelligence or God and his creation? You know, artificial intelligence is new and different from everything else that we have known so far as human beings in terms of what we have known and developed for human flourishing. But is it not based on creation as something entirely new and different from anything else that has ever happened? In my opinion, there are three major things that have happened that are truly new and different. One of them is the creation of heaven and earth. Number two, the creation of a new reality, the new creation through the resurrection of Jesus Christ. And thirdly, the human ability to create new and different things in his self-development. And so, which among of these are the most real and the most artificial? In my understanding, what the human can create, including artificial intelligence, which is new and different from anything else that we know, depends upon God's creative, evaluative, that is judging, redeeming, and the transforming of everything else on which everything else depends, creation into new creation. Okay, one of the things that I've learned from today's lectures is that artificial intelligence is that's simply what it is, artificial. It is what humans create, but it cannot create the human. Number two, while it is true that artificial intelligence can make artificial of reality, the one who makes artificial intelligence and making it into something artificial is still the human being who has been created by God, evaluated by Him as good, and provided him with graces that are meant for human flourishing. Okay, now we have known what is new and different about artificial intelligence. We know a bit about what it can be used for and the good that it may produce. But there are limitations and risks that are involved in it. You know, human experience is always an experience of something good and something evil. And the efforts to discover new ethical principles that should somehow guide the use of artificial intelligence and make it do good for us. That is something that we have to do in education, as indicated by all. But remember what Einstein said. If we think the same way that produce the problems in solving them, we will not get anywhere. So we are now being asked to do some kind of new thinking other than what we are used to. The trouble is, what is that kind of new thinking? Is it to be shaped by artificial intelligence? Must our thinking become as artificial as artificial intelligence? What do you think? Theologically speaking.
Thank you very much, Bishop Nakil, for that thought-provoking question, as always. Okay, I'll be giving Dr. Paul and Dr. Yami their time to respond, and I will be giving back the floor to Dr. Miranda because we don't have time. We have limited time anymore. So, Dr. Paul and Dr. Yami for your last words, and then Dr. Miranda.
I think Paul and then Yang Min, as soon as you respond, continue with announcements and then closing prayer with Bishop Nakpil, by Bishop Nakpil, I think.
I'll just make a quick statement then that, you know, I think I appreciate Bishop Nakpil's words and wisdom for us. The whole advancement with AI has helped me to realize again how important the creation story is, how important it is to be made in the image of God, and how important our particular role is on earth as intelligent beings, as emotional beings, and as ethical beings. And so for me, the whole rise of AI has helped me as a pastor and a theologian to realize the important role of each student and member of our community as a human being. And that really is the center of what we are as Methodist institutions, I think, too.
Okay, thank you.
Dr.
Yeah,
Yami?
I think you know, I 100% agree with what Bishop said, and that is very insightful, like the response to our discussion. But something we need to consider is this one: this AI learn everything from what we produced.
Exactly.
Yeah, that is the thing. Okay, so they are learning everything. Maybe
From us.
they're gonna learn what Bishop said. Okay, and then they're gonna integrate, okay, and then knowledge and the wisdom into their algorithm.
The
Yeah,
product cannot produce the producer.
that's right. It's not gonna be direct. As the Alan Kaba said, okay, and they're not gonna experience it, but at least they're gonna get the secondhand, okay, experience with somebody writing about their experience. And then it's going to evolve, okay, into the other level. And that is why they are trying to resemble, okay, and what we are thinking and how we are thinking. And maybe, a lot of people are, thinking now, maybe they're gonna find out the algorithm of compassion, algorithm of forgiveness, and maybe, empathy. And, that is where they are heading now. And a lot of AI experts is saying that is possible. Okay. And that is why, I think, we need to know the current limitation and also potential possibility. And then, we need to be wise, about, how we're going to use it, and be careful at the same time, be beneficial, okay, out of it.
Now, please don't misunderstand me
Mhm.
that I'm trying to downgrade AI.
Oh, yeah.
It's this is one of the very new and different things that has happened in human history. And in my understanding, in terms of secularity, this is an aspect of what secularity is all about, namely to establish the independence and integrity of creation as protected by God and sustained by God. But at the same time, God has established a primal relationship with his creation that cannot be broken.
Yes, Bishop, thank you. I think that calls for another session with you, Bishop Nakil. At this point, may I call on Dr. Yangmin for the announcements, and then back to you, Bishop Nakil, for the closing prayer.
Okay,
Thank you
thank
once
you.
again, Paul.
Okay, so let me share the screen. And yeah, the announcement, okay, and it's about the thank you for the speakers, including myself and all the participants, and also all the discussion, we developed. I think, we need to further, okay, discussion is needed, for this matter. I think it could be applied, into many different subjects, okay, within our society. And let us continue it. Next forum, will be about climate change. And we want to invite someone from Pacific island of Samoa, and which is directly affected, okay, by these things. And we'll be very happy to invite him, as a speaker. That'll be on the July 29th, and we're going to use the same time and same link for it. Thank you very much.
Closing prayer, Bishop Nakil.
Father, we thank you for this session. We thank you for artificial intelligence as something new and different. And may you, Lord, enable us to discover how it may be used for human flourishing and for the glory of your name. May you, Lord, guide us as we think more about it. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Everyone, thank you to our speakers. A big hand for them. And of
Thank
course,
you.
our participants. See you again, July 29.
9th, yes.
Nice.
See you
Okay.
Thank you,
29th.
Paul.
God
Thank you.
bless
Paul.
us
Thank you,
all.
Bishop, and thank you, everyone.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you, young man.
Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate what you have done. Wow.